Welcome back to Out of the Office Talks with the Eastern Shore Chamber. I'm Jason Schmidt with firewatchbusiness.net and Firewatch Business YouTube channel. This is the Eastern Shore podcast, and you can find it on anywhere you get your podcast at the Eastern Shore Chamber. And we are at Back in Motion.
Yeah.
Dr. Abby Parrish's chiropractic office. She also does wellness and acupuncture, and she's fantastic. And one of the things that I love about her, and I've said this every time we've met here at Back in Motion, but it's very true. She makes her decisions on three tenets: kindness, community, and connection. And you can tell that by when you meet her, that is how she feels about it. Great place, Old Town Daphne, Back in Motion. Y'all come by and see her. Great calming and soothing place for chiropractic care. She's great.
That's
Dr. Abby
important.
Parrish.
Yeah.
So we're proud to have today Corey Wilborn. Did I say that correctly?
Yes, you
Corey
did.
Wilborn with the South Alabama Land Trust.
Yes.
I get it right. So
Yes.
South Alabama Land Trust. And Corey, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you
And
for
thanks for
having
coming
me.
with the Eastern Shore Out of the Office Talks with the Eastern Shore Chamber.
Yeah.
What is SALT? What is the South Alabama Land Trust?
Yeah. So South Alabama Land Trust, we are a nonprofit organization focusing on land conservation. So we basically protect the land and promote environmental education in coastal Alabama. We do this so that current and future residents can enjoy clean water and the marine life and wildlife around the area and everything that this coast has to offer. So everything from managing land, going into land donations, conservation easements, any kind of land that we acquire by purchasing, anything like that.
When you purchase a piece of property, does that automatically go into a conservation and it won't be used ever again, and it is for the conservation of that property?
Correct. Once we acquire that land, it is ours forever. So we will conserve it against any kind of subdivision, development, or anything like that.
SALT has, I saw, protected over 10,000 acres.
So now it's up to over 12,000 acres.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So my research is a little bit behind, but
No, that's okay.
but that's not just property, but it's also waterfront property, watersheds,
Correct.
wetlands, those kind of things.
Correct. Yes. All of the above.
And we do that just so the one thing that I thought was very neat on the website was the biodiversity. Can you go into a little bit of that about, we know that where the five rivers come in is the North American Amazon. That has to carry over to where we are.
Yeah, it does. We have kind of a little rainforest in of ourselves. Everything that is on our lands, specifically wetlands, you've got native species, invasive species, you've got different plant lives, you've got animal species, you name it. It's all there. And a lot of people don't actually know what we have in our land in coastal Alabama. And it's really, really awesome for me to come into this position and be able to explore that on my own, but also be able to show people what it's all about, what we do conserve, because people think, oh, we're just, bayfront property or wetlands here and there. When people hear wetlands, they think, ew, mucky, muddy water,
Right.
and it's not very attractive to people. But once you get into the nitty-gritty of what you're actually protecting in those wetlands, it's really, really incredible.
No, the amount of species we have here is just off the chain crazy.
Yeah, really.
It is amazing. You just mentioned about your new role.
Mm-hmm.
Your new role is with the South Alabama Land Trust.
Yes.
And your new role is?
Communications and Outreach Associate.
How's that been going for you? When did you start there? Not too long ago.
Beginning of June, actually.
Right, so you're brand new.
Brand new.
Tell us how it's going.
It's going really well. I'm extremely busy right now. We in the Eastern Shore are an eBird hotspot. And if you don't know what that is, an eBird is an app for birders. And basically this app locates all locations around the world that you can come and see specific bird species.
Wow.
So it's really incredible to see how many really awesome and beautiful birds that we have in our area that even Mobile and Gulf Shores and Orange Beach don't have. It's strictly the Eastern Shore. People come from all over the country to see this migratory pattern. Five Rivers Delta Resource Center.
Of course.
We are great partners with them. We really appreciate them. And
If you haven't been to the Five Rivers Resource Center, you're missing out, because that is an amazing place.
Yes,
amazing
they've got
place.
exhibits. They've got animals and fish and, taxidermied animals, but also live animals. I got to hold a snake the other day. That was really cool. I got to hold an alligator as well. It was like a baby alligator, like maybe 2 feet long. It was so cute. But you wouldn't think, oh, I'm going to go hold an alligator today at the Delta Resource Center, right? So, no, they're super awesome. We are actually launching our Gulf Coast Nature Passport program. This program is really near and dear to my heart. Coming from a communications background, I know nothing about the environmental business and even a nonprofit. And so coming into this, I'm learning a lot. But being in nature in of itself is something that I grew up with, that I hope that the kids of coming generations get to grow up with, rather than being on their technology all day.
Right.
We want to get them outside. We want to encourage them to go out and explore. And so what this Nature Passport program is going to do is encourage these kids to go out and seek nature, seek different activities and different species and plant life, animal life, you name it. It's about 24 prompts for these kids to go and either find a native species or spot a certain fish or go on a hike or pick up trash in their community or find a 9-banded armadillo.
Right.
So, you've got a lot of different prompts for these kids to go and do. When I was growing up, I was the kid that was always out in the ditch playing in the dirt. I would come in for dinner and my mom would be like, Corey, you smell like sunshine. Go wash up.
That's right.
Rather than telling me I smelled really bad, she'd tell me I smell like sunshine. And so just remembering that, it was just really, really awesome to be able to be a part of such an awesome program that encourages our youth to get out and explore.
And so how do you get involved with that? What is that for the kids? How do they do that?
Yeah, so anytime that you want, you can come by our South Alabama Land Trust office, which is down on Weeks Bay, right across from the Weeks Bay Reserve.
Right.
We will provide a passport booklet for the kids, and they are prompted to go and complete these different levels of activities. So level 1 is completing 10, level 2 is completing 20 activities, and level 3 is completing the entire booklet.
Wow.
And based on their level of completion, they'll win a certain prize. So once they're completed with the passport book, we encourage them to bring them back into the office, and we'll give them their prize.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
That's cool that you have a reward for them doing that.
Yeah. This program will go on until April 22nd, which is Earth Day of 2025. So it's about a 6-month program. So this gives kids all of the opportunities to go out in the fall, winter, springtime.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
As a landowner, if you're a landowner and you're like, well, I need to get into some of this conservation stuff.
Yeah.
Do y'all have ways at SALT that allow them to do that?
Yes. We have everything from our member programs to being a monthly or annual donor, to even donating your land as a conservation easement. So for our membership programs, we hold member program events. We're trying to do it once a quarter right now. We're trying to get into more frequent events, like maybe once a month, hopefully soon. But these will basically be guided tours throughout our SALT properties, which, by the way, all of our SALT properties are private. They're not open to the public. So being a member allows you to gain access to these places that a lot of people can't go to. One of my favorite places that we have that's, we can't tell where it is, but it's called Juniper Bog. And this is basically a wetland, bog, savanna, a piece of property that is very nurturing to the pitcher plant, especially white-topped pitcher plant species. So you go out here and you see these amazing pitcher plants, which are carnivorous plants, and they, it invites all kinds of pollinators, butterflies, bees, stuff like that. And you go out there and it's like you're just sitting in this magical meadow of amazing plant species, plant life, insects and stuff like that. But we actually just did an orchid count at this juniper bog, and an orchid is, you think the orchids that you get in
That's right.
the grocery stores, but they actually don't look like that. These are called white-tipped orchids. We have our bog trotters that are also a part of our member programs. Volunteers can sign up to be a part of these programs, but we have people go out and they basically survey the land and they count all of these orchids.
Wow.
By doing this, we can monitor our progress with conserving that land. So we do prescribed burns, which I'll get into later. But basically, these burns will multiply these plant lives by hundreds and thousands. And so over each year, we've been able to collect the data that basically tells us that our burns are being successful.
Wow.
So it's really, really cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah, but back to how you can be involved in salt, and if you have land that you want to have conserved, you can also do something called a conservation easement, which is an agreement between the landowner and salt, where you will basically give us the rights to conserve the land.
Right.
So you still own it, you still have all the rights to it, you can still protect it yourself, but we are going to protect it in its environment. And do everything that we can to conserve the land to make sure that everything's living until it can't anymore.
So you can volunteer to to do that, and not, and then if you just want to donate money, you can do that.
Yes, exactly. The member programs, I believe, are a donation-based program.
Right.
So whatever you feel in your heart that you want to give to SALT to conserve the land, we'll accept anything.
Yes.
But yeah, it's super easy, and it's really rewarding too, just to
important
understand.
Work.
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, you asked how my new job is going earlier. Being able to work for a company like this is so rewarding to me, just because I feel like I'm actually doing something in my community. You know what I mean? It's you can volunteer here and there as you please, but volunteering to conserve the land that my kids will hopefully one day come back to live on. It's just it's really incredible just to see this beauty just being completely protected.
Right, and we talk about this all the time on these podcasts with the Eastern Shore Chamber, is that most of the people that are in the chamber, it is a servant heart where you're out there. You're in it for the connections, obviously, and to try to build your business. But it's more than that. It's connecting other people with other people. It's not just about your business. It's about a community and having a service community, and that's exactly what you're talking about with SALT.
Right.
You are absolutely serving a community to a great deal because of the conservation aspect of it. It's amazing. It really is.
And it really kind of goes into you're serving the animals too. You're providing protection on these animals' habitats, and you're protecting their homes, right?
Right.
And so for any animal lover, you think about it that way, and it's like, oh, you're right. I really do believe that we should do that. And so it's just it's really cool. It's really, really awesome, because a lot of people don't really think about it, where some of these habitats that we're protecting for these animals, these are animals such as raccoons and rodents and stuff like that, which if we're protecting their homes, they're not going to come and invade our homes, right? So it's like everybody that is so downward looking on, the different species in our area and having animal control and everything. If you protect their home, they're not going to come and bother you. Right. So it's really awesome to look at it that way too.
It is very cool that we're protecting these habitats for these animals, and it just makes it show how important land conservation is.
Right, right. So when you want to become involved with SALT by providing some sort of donation, whether that's a monetary donation or if it's a land donation, obviously that's a really, really big contribution to us, and we take everything so seriously and appreciate everything, because we are a nonprofit organization. We're a 501c3 organization, so it's definitely something that we have to work towards through those donations as well. Luckily, being a 501c3 nonprofit, as you donate to us, it's a charitable tax incentive. So a lot of people don't really think about that, and it's like, oh, hello, this is something that I could, I have this extra piece of land on my property that I don't really use,
Right.
but it's not being disturbed by anything. Why don't I donate it? Why don't I do something better with it? If I, as the property owner, am not going to be developing anything on it, what's the point of me keeping it aside from, future generations to come? Well, then that goes into being a conservation easement. So you can go into land donation where, half the land we own today, that SALT owns today, was donated.
Wow.
So those donations are a huge contribution. And SALT currently protects over, like we said earlier, 12,000 acres in Mobile and Baldwin counties alone. But also part of that protection, those 12,000 acres of protection, is through conservation easements as well. Some people even put SALT in their will.
Right.
So when they're no longer there to look after the land, it's still owned by their family. However, we're the ones that are looking over it now and conserving it for them.
That's very nice.
Isn't that so cool?
That is very nice. Yes.
So you think, as a child of someone that owns a lot of land, you're worrying about, oh, what am I going to do with this?
Mm-hmm.
Think about us. We're here to help you do that. That's exactly what we want to do. So, yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So how does SALT go about preserving land to protect tomorrow?
Yeah. So first step is acquiring the land, like we talked about, donations. Buying land, so when we get a monetary donation, obviously it goes into a fund that we can then go and purchase the land ourselves. Land donations and conservation easements. Once we have the land, we focus on stewardship and monitoring. So through stewardship, we do prescribed burns, like I mentioned earlier, through juniper bog, and invasive species management. So what these prescribed burns will do is basically, you think about it and you're like, why are you burning this to the ground? It's so beautiful. But in reality, it actually multiplies the species in that location. So if you do want to learn more about it, check out our website, but also sign up to be a member. Cassidy can teach you a lot. She's awesome. Through stewardship and those prescribed burns, we also have that invasive species management. So Cassidy will actually go along with some more of our board members and volunteers on some of our properties, and she'll basically take a machete and whack down all of those invasive species, basically clearing the land of anything that is extremely invasive that should not be there and that could actually suffocate the different species that are native to our area. Another way that we protect the land is through monitoring. When we have conservation easements or any kind of land that we own near a development, there is this thing called encroachment, where people that are behind a development, say a neighborhood, and we have a piece of land behind them protecting the wetlands surrounding that neighborhood. Basically, we will monitor that land in our property line, make sure that nobody is going and using it for recreational uses, leaving traces behind, such as trash and stuff like that. A lot of people don't know where their property line is.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah, it really is, because you think of a neighborhood a neighborhood that doesn't have fences backing your backyard. Making sure that those boundaries are kept in a friendly way, saying, hey, this is the land that we're protecting behind you. We'd love to protect it even more and make it a safe environment for you. But that could also be protecting people from the species that live on these pieces of land as well. There's one area that is on a riverbed, and it has alligator snapping turtles.
Oh, wow.
Which, if you don't know what this is, I ask you to Google it. It is basically the closest thing to a dinosaur that we can get these days. It is this massive tortoise that is just, it's dangerous. Yes. And we don't want our kids around those places.
Anything that we missed that you might want to bring up?
No, I'm really enjoying this job. Like I said, I've been incredibly busy, but it's been the most rewarding thing coming into a position in a company that I really knew nothing about, stepping into it. I love the people that I work with. Our executive director, Jane Herndon, she's amazing. She knows everything about everything with law and land conservation. And so it's just really, really cool to come and be surrounded by amazing women in my office. I work with all women. And then keep an eye out for our salt line editions. We release it twice a year. We have a spring edition and a fall edition.
South Alabama Land Trust. And Corey, thank you so much for coming in and spending time with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's an amazing job you got. It really is.
It's really awesome.
Thank you guys for watching. We really appreciate that too. Like and subscribe also. You can find this on any podcast platform you have. It's on the Eastern Shore Podcast. Also, firewatchbusiness.net. I'm Jason, and Firewatch Business YouTube channel. And we will see you guys in 1 month. Thank you.